Good morning. My name is Brenda Kilhofer. I'm from Goodyear, Arizona. Just over 41 years ago, I was born in a United States military hospital in Petersburg, Virginia. My parents and grandparents served in the U.S. Army, protecting our basic constitutional rights. I too served in the U.S. Air Force. I tell you this because I love our country. I am a patriot. Just over a year after I was born, our country, our government, and Planned Parenthood began selling a product. This product was abortion. That product was somehow supposed to benefit women. I bought into it. The men and women on this stage bought into it. And on some level, I'm going to suggest that all of us have bought into it. Let me ask you with a show of hands, have you ever said or heard somebody say, "I'm expecting a child"? Yeah. Once upon a time, we would say, "I am with child." Last year, I experienced firsthand how this product has conditioned and groomed even the most pro-life among us to somehow view an unborn human as a fetus, something less valuable than a born child. In fact, that experience almost prevented me from being here today to share my testimony. It was only a week ago that I made the decision to come. Because of these women behind me and mustering up the courage to come back, hoping to rejoice in the beautiful memories that I do have of my little boy. Last year, if you were among this crowd, you heard me share that I have 8 children. Joshua and Elizabeth in heaven because of an abortion. Timothy and Grace, I'd lost in miscarriages. I have 3 children, Jordan, Jalen, and Jacob, who are at home, and they're amazing and awesome. And last year I was sharing a message of hope and joy with you all as I announced that I was 17 weeks pregnant. I did not know at the time that my baby boy had already died. A week later, I delivered him. He was stillborn. His name is Jonathan Caleb Kilhofer. My doctor assured me that it was not the trip or participating in this walk that caused his death. I want to believe him. But if I'm honest with myself, I still battle with the guilt that perhaps had I not been here, he might be alive today. Or that if I had not had 2 abortions, he would be alive today. So today is a milestone in my healing journey. But my nightmare did not begin with finding out that Jonathan had died. It wasn't even the part where I delivered him. That awful product that we know as abortion came back to haunt me soon after Jonathan was taken from my arms. My placenta would not deliver, and I was losing a lot of blood. My doctor, who knew my history, came in to tell me that it couldn't wait any longer. There were no alternatives. I would have to undergo a D&C. My husband had gone to the cafeteria to eat. After all, we've had 3 children, and after the deliveries happened, everything is okay. The worst was supposed to be over. But as they were wheeling me out of the room, a nurse came over and asked me to sign a release form. In that moment, I was the scared young girl who was about to have an abortion 20 years earlier. But this time I knew better. I couldn't sign the form. I told myself, it's okay. It's not the same. He's already born. You held him. I wanted to throw up. I asked where my husband was. I wanted him to sign it, as if somehow that would release me of the terrible responsibility of the act that I was about to commit to. 2 very different circumstances had collided, and I could not comprehend reality. The nurse told me, "We can't wait for him. You have to go now." I scribbled my name on the paper and I began sobbing. In the hall, I could hear a baby who had just been delivered, crying. I pulled the pillow over my head to try and drown out the sounds. I remember doing the same thing in the recovery room after my second abortion. But the cries I was drowning out then were the cries of other young women who had also bought into this product that was supposed to help us. When I arrived in the OR, I saw my doctor alongside of another man who handed me a cup and told me that it would put me in a twilight sleep. Just as I drank it, I saw him placing stirrups on the operating room table. I remember feeling nothing but terror and panic. That was the last thing I recall. The next morning, when my doctor came in to talk with me, I shared with him that my back had hurt. He explained that it was probably because I fought him. I fought them in the operating room when they tried to position my legs in the stirrup and tried to do the procedure. A few weeks later, somebody told me that her friend who worked at Planned Parenthood had seen that happen over and over again when women were having their abortions. Even after years of rejecting the product of abortion and years of healing and accepting forgiveness, in the blink of an eye, that ever-present reminder of my choice was right back in front of me. I had relived my second abortion, which had completely been lost in my subconscious mind until that very moment, in the midst of my heartbreaking loss. I mentioned earlier that on some level, everyone has bought into this product. Well, let me explain. I knew because of my weekend at Rachel's Vineyard that healing would begin with a mass and a memorial service for our son. And we began planning a funeral for Jonathan, and he was buried at Holy Cross Cemetery. These amazing women from Silent No More were there to support me, along with my friends from Justice for All, and there were many others. But there were more, many of whom were close family members who couldn't understand why we would spend money that we didn't have to bury a fetus. It didn't make sense to most that there would even be a funeral. It was as if because he wasn't full term or a born child, it was more acceptable to throw him out with the medical waste than to celebrate his short life at a funeral mass. This product and the language used to describe the unborn human has numbed us all to the reality of what abortion really is. If we all agree that this product kills a living human being, then there should be no compromise, no matter of more importance than to reverse Roe v. Wade. Politicians, voters, parents, friends, boyfriends can no longer sit by and watch as yet another generation of women is sold a product that clearly harms both her and the human life that she is responsible for. We as a people must stand united and protect our daughters. We as a society must protect all human rights. It is our duty as a civilized nation to protect those who cannot protect themselves. United, we can change the future.